Hi guys, happy Witchy Wednesday. So, alright, I started a new arthritis medication for my hands, and literally I am so sore. I've never been this sore in my entire life. So, if I do not have people's Ouija sessions, I have 2 Ouija sessions to do. If I don't have those done by Friday, I will refund you guys for that. That's my fault. So, I can't even fathom having my hands rest and being pulled around with the planchette for that long. So unless it's good, unless it fully kicks in the next tonight and tomorrow, and we still have and then Friday, so we will see. So my apologies in advance. Yeah, this just sucks. I did not know frickin' arthritis was full blown. So don't break your hands or your wrists, because it hurts. Then you get arthritis. Okay, back to Cochrane. Now, where did we leave off last time? I don't know, but it gets really, really, really odd about his background and the way he passed away. So, alright. Okay, now, while he was stationed... Wait a minute, where'd I go? Okay, now, while he was stationed in England, Joe Wilson also attended some public meetings of the Regency, the neo-pagan group founded by Ronald White and George Stannard after Cochrane's death. So unfortunately, in the early 1970s, Joe Wilson's stay in the United Kingdom was dramatically curtailed. I like these words. I do. They're amazing. So, so it was curtailed. He had been recruited by the USAF's Office of Special Investigations, or OSI, to spy on fellow servicemen, on those who were actively protesting against the Vietnam War. This is where Eartha Kitt really comes in now. This is when, let's see, Lady Bird Johnson was, and, what was his name? The president was, that was crazy. Now look up Eartha Kitt, her visit to the White House. Not with Carter, but with the other guy. So yeah, they were protesting against the Vietnam War. Now, as the subsequent court-martial of the protesters, Wilson appeared as a witness for the persecution in his role as an OSI informant. So he refused to take the oath on a Bible because he said he was a Druid. I wouldn't either. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. But anyways, his admission in court created a sensation in the British press, and also an uproar in politically aware Wiccan circles who are opposed to the Vietnam War. They weren't the only people that were opposed to the Vietnam War. So he was condemned as a traitor, even though he was not a Wiccan. Wilson's defense was that he had been persecuted or pressured by the OSI into spying on his colleagues, and had only done so with great reluctance. I like this guy Wilson. I really like this guy Wilson, what he stands for and what goes on with him as we get further and further into this, etc., etc. So after the hearing, Wilson was immediately transferred out of the way to a USAF base in Greece before eventually returning to the States. So when Joe Wilson arrived stateside, he before eventually returning to the States. Okay, so when he arrived stateside, he circulated photocopies of his correspondence with Robert Cochrane to friends, and several covens he was in contact with. Wow. Talk about loopy. Alright, so the letter formed the nucleus with other information gained from Sean and Ruth Wynne Owen for the teachings of the 1734 tradition, and they were passed to initiates as training manuals. So Wilson later posted the letters on the internet, albeit in a jumbled form. So he later claimed his first wife had destroyed the originals, and he had to restore them from his memory. So we all know how that goes. Everything being restored from memory, translations, mistranslations. So initially, many of the early 1734 groups used a Wiccan structure for convenience, and only for convenience. So, where'd I go? But since 1990, I think, yeah. They have had their rituals provided by Evan John Jones with the help of Doreen Valiente, and published in their joint book Witchcraft, A Tradition Renewed. So, Wilson, in fact, produced his own 1734 Book of Shadows that drew heavily on Wicca, basically just substituting the names Tubal Cain and, interestingly, Goda for the witch god and goddess. So Joe Wilson he ran a website devoted to Cochrane until his own death in 2004 from lung disease. So he also started to use the name Joseph Bearwalker Wilson and formed a new group called Metisa, later known as the Toltec tribe. I wonder if that is the Philippine Toltec. Is that in the Philippines? I think that sounds really familiar, like the original Philippine language, Toltec? Don't know. So, following an American Indian-based neo-shamanic path. Everything has to be neo-paganism. So, in the 1734 tradition, survived his death, and today it has members in both the United States and Britain and its own internet presence. Yes, I have seen it, and I don't have a problem with it. Now, the modern covens in the 1734 tradition share what Professor Chas S. Clifton of the University of Colorado has described a family feeling compared with Wicca and neo-pagan groups. He says, 1734 is more of a mystery religion and less of a fertility religion. So, very close and similar to the old religion or the old craft. So, which aligns it more with its old roots. So yeah, it would align it more with the old religion, the mysteries, and not so much fertility. So now another preference that marks them out is working outdoors in forests, caves, and on hilltops. Very traditional witch-esque. I mean, they did draw from that, so I mean, I like that. So now also, as in some traditional groups, and in contrast to the average Wiccan coven, the primary purpose of their existence is not to celebrate the seasonal festivals of the Wheel of the Year. Yeah, and that's not what traditional craft is about either. It's we recognize it, but we enflesh the lore so we can learn, basically learning from our ancestors, tapping the bone from the great ancestors, all of them. So the mighty dead. Now, as in the clan of as in the old clan of Tubal Cain, there is an emphasis on spirit connection with the old ones and finding the path to the castle of rebirth, which is the Rose Castle, and the castle is very much so in Welsh witchcraft, so that's another form of, traditional craft. So, this is achieved by using trance, hypnosis, ritual workings, and the kind of poetic reasoning embodying in Robert Graves' The White Goddess. So I'm not too... I don't know. Maybe I should read The White Goddess. I just don't feel like I should. It's not calling to me. I might. But, okay, so Stuart Inman, who was a British occult associate of Joe Wilson, and now turns, and now runs the 1734 tradition in the United Kingdom, and he said, in his last years, Joe Wilson was very aware of his deteriorating health. Meant that he would not live very much longer, and he was concerned that his work should not disappear after his death. So I totally understand that, and me and my friend, we had a really good conversation on our works and when we're dead. And so now, in some ways, his group Metista and his successor Toteg tribe should be considered as a corrective to what much of 1734 had become. Now, they were the essence of the fundamental spiritual attitude behind his own understanding of what 1734 embodied. So, it's a very interesting tradition. Very interesting. So, but we're not connected or concerned with the cultural specifics of that tradition, which derives from Robert Cochrane, Ruth Wynne Owen, and Sean. After the collapse of Metista, Wilson created Toteg tribe and appointed several of his students as doyens, or elders of the clans within the tribe, to form a council of doyens to continue his work. Yeah, it's kind of sad. I mean, when you know your time is coming, and you're like, okay, well, I have to find, all these people to, pass my knowledge on to. It's kind of freaky. I would be. Now, for some time, Wilson seemed content to leave the fate of the 1734 tradition in the hands of the gods. He had already stated that one could be 1734 without formal initiation or lineage, and made it clear that the tradition did not belong to anybody. Its lineages, degrees, etc. were only relevant within the covens or clans in which they belonged, and had no authority beyond that. So, eventually, however, Wilson decided to appoint 3 guardians of the 1734 stream: Maureen Aisling, Duffy Booz, Karen Silverwood, and the writer himself. So, while the appointment of the Toltag Doyens was made formally and publicly, they were made informally and privately. So the virtue of the 1734 stream was passed to all 3 guardians by various means, but it was also understood that they were not either individually or collectively in charge of the tradition. So that's actually really good. So with authority over its members, but precisely guardians, a position of responsibility rather than power. Their roles is to correct public misunderstandings of 1734, to promote a true understanding where appropriate, and help protect the privacy and security of 1734 brethren, as well as to give advice when it is asked. So a very very different tradition. Now, in recent years, a strong bond of friendship has grown between the 1734 tradition and the clan of Tubal Cain in Britain, while respecting the differences in autonomy of each tradition. So that's pretty interesting. That's really interesting stuff. Now, in November of 1964, a small esoteric magazine called New Dimensions, edited by the magician Berith Knight, aka Basil Wilby, published Robert Cochrane's article, The Witch's Esbat. So this was based on a clan of Tubal Cain working, known as the Cave in the Cauldron. So Cochrane was a caver, and was therefore quite keen to use caves for rituals. So, although he says the ritual was fictionalized in the article, according to John Jones, it still represents the type of working the group was doing at the time. So, it has been rightly described as one of the best and most atmospheric descriptions of a witchcraft rite that's ever been published. So, we have that. So, we're going to leave off with that. Very interesting stuff. Really, really interesting stuff. I love it. I love this. Okay, where did I go at the time? Okay. Let's see, at the time, one of Cochrane's. Have to write it down. Have to write it all down, or I will totally forget. God, it really hurts to move today. Crap, if I can't even write. It's really hard to write on a napkin with a ballpoint pen. It is really hard, really difficult. So, alright, there we go. Alright guys, yes, as soon as the seasons have switched, I will be doing the astrological reading, so the zodiac signs for the whole month. I'm not going to do like mid-month. I don't bother with all that, so I don't even, whatever. But I'll be continuing to do that, so. But yeah, alright guys, I will see you all tomorrow. I hope you guys have a great Witchy Wednesday. All my love, all the way from Venus, all the way up, and back down. Can't do it. Hurts too bad. So I love you all very much. Thank you guys for all the amazing comments. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell so you know when I go live, so you guys don't miss my lives. And because I see people, when are you going to go live again? I will be live probably. I don't know when. So just click the bell and you'll be notified. So I love you guys. And everybody please be safe, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.